and you're telling a story, and there's something you need at the very start of your story, that if you don't have this thing, then I'm telling you, your story is going to be less effective. In fact, the best speakers have this in their story. Okay, so you start your story, and an ingredient, and let's just say you start here, an ingredient that you need to come in at the very, very earliest parts of your story, right here. Let's just say this is 0 to 60 seconds. 0 to 60 seconds, you need to introduce this one thing. And this one thing is conflict or a problem. See, when you introduce conflict or a problem in the earliest parts of your story, your audience become curious and they're likely to raise their engagement levels and stay to the end of your story. Okay? If you leave your conflict, let's just write this out. If you have your conflict here in your story, and it takes a good 3 minutes to get into the conflict of your story, guess what happens? Your audience, along this moment, your audience is bored. You have a bored audience between 0 to 3 minutes of your story. So you don't want a bored audience. You want your audience to be engaged. So here's what I do, is at the beginning of my stories, I bring the conflict forward. You bring the conflict forward. Bring the conflict right here. Conflict. And as the story goes on, you can bring in some more conflict. So we call that, in world-class speaking, we talk about to escalate. Escalate the conflict. You know, in the movies when, you know, someone gets lost on a road, that's the early conflict. And then to escalate that conflict, they lose their mobile phone. You know, that's even more conflict. You can escalate the conflict again. You can just build up the conflict and conflict. So it keeps your audience listening again and again and again. So I want you to analyze your stories and think about, you know, this is 1 minute, this is 2 minutes. Are you building conflict? Is your story conflict rich? Having a conflict rich story is so important for your public speaking. I like to say this, and remember, you heard it here first. The absence of conflict is the presence of boredom.